Most people walk past a child in need without ever realizing they just walked past the moment that could have changed everything. But on this cold, rainy Tuesday, a single dad named Daniel didn't walk past. He wasn't out searching for miracles. He wasn't expecting anything more than a quiet meal with his daughter. He was just trying to keep his own life from falling apart. Bills overdue, hours cut at work, and a heart still grieving the wife he'd lost far too young. The weight of the world sat on his shoulders, and he was doing everything he could just to stay upright when he felt a quiet presence beside his cafe table. A trembling voice whispered, "Sir, can I sit here?" And when Daniel turned, he saw her, a soaked teenage girl, clothes clinging from the rain, a single crutch tucked under her arm. The careful way she shifted her weight made it clear that every step cost her effort, each movement measured and deliberate. Her eyes carried the kind of loneliness only life can carve into a child, a mixture of fear, embarrassment, and a flicker of hope so fragile it looked like it might break in the space between breaths. Daniel didn't know it yet, but letting her sit down would change both of their lives forever. The rain outside ran down the cafe windows in long, tired streaks. People hurried in from the cold, shaking water from their jackets and claiming seats with their belongings. The place buzzed with conversations, clinking cups, and the warm hiss of the espresso machine. Yet for Daniel, it all felt strangely distant. Across from him, his 7-year-old daughter Emma hummed softly while coloring a picture of a blue cat wearing bright red boots. Because in her world, nothing needed to match to be beautiful. Her little legs swung beneath the chair, unable to touch the floor, and her curls bounced each time she leaned over the table. Daniel smiled at her, trying to hide the exhaustion tugging at the corners of his eyes. His coffee had gone cold. His hope felt the same. But then the girl, this trembling stranger on a crutch, spoke again. I won't stay long. I just need somewhere to sit." Before Daniel could answer, Emma leaned toward him and whispered, "Daddy, she looks lonely." Emma wasn't being dramatic. She was being honest. Children see what adults ignore. And that single whisper nudged Daniel's heart open. He looked at the girl gently. "Yeah, sweetheart. You can sit here as long as you need." Relief washed over her face as she sat, careful and slow. Her hands shook slightly as she placed her backpack on her lap, holding it like a shield. "Thank you," she murmured. Emma smiled at her. "What's your name?" "Maya," she said. "I didn't want to bother anyone." The other tables were full. Daniel glanced around. Full? Not really. Just filled with people who used jackets, laptops, and bags to block out the world. Plenty of open chairs, no open hearts. "You're not bothering us," Daniel said softly. "We're glad you're here." And for the first time, Maya lifted her eyes just enough to believe him. As she adjusted herself, she opened her backpack briefly. Inside was only a single bruised apple, nothing else. Emma tilted her head. "Is that all you're gonna eat?" Maya froze, cheeks reddening. "Oh, I already ate. I'm not hungry." But her stomach growled loudly, betraying her. Daniel felt something inside him crack. He knew hunger, financial, emotional, and the kind that comes when life keeps taking more than it gives. He caught the waiter's eye. "Maya, how do you feel about grilled cheese?" Her head shot up. You don't have to do that. Really?" "I'm fine." "You're not," Daniel said kindly. "And that's okay, let us treat you." She hesitated, not because she didn't want food, but because kindness sometimes feels more dangerous than cruelty when you're not used to receiving it. Finally, she nodded. It was small, but it was everything. While they waited for the sandwich, Maya told bits of her story in hesitant fragments. "I live at the shelter down the street," she said quietly. My mom, she passed away last year, car accident. Her voice wavered. And my leg, I got hurt that day, really badly. Walking has been hard ever since. Daniel felt his chest tighten. Loss. He understood that language too well. Guidance on disability-inclusive language suggests focusing on facts and abilities, rather than framing people as broken or incomplete, which this softer phrasing supports. His wife, Laura, had died 4 years earlier, 3 brutal months after her cancer diagnosis. He could still remember the way Emma clung to him at the funeral. He could still remember the silence afterward, the kind that felt too big for the room. "I'm so sorry," he said softly. Maya gave a small, hard smile. People say that, and then they leave. The way she said it, it wasn't bitter, just true. Daniel didn't look away. He stayed. When the grilled cheese arrived, Maya stared at it like it was a warm miracle. She took one small bite, almost apologetic, then a second, then more confident bites, as if her body remembered what it felt like to be nourished. Color returned to her cheeks. She exhaled as if she hadn't taken a full breath in months. Emma giggled. "You eat like me." For the first time, Maya laughed. A soft, fragile, fluttering sound that felt like seeing sunshine break through storm clouds. Daniel held on to that moment. Something inside him warmed that hadn't warmed in years. The 3 of them sat together for nearly an hour, talking about small things that felt enormous. Maya told them about the book she loved to read at the shelter's tiny library. Emma showed her the blue cat drawing and insisted Maya help her add purple stars to the sky. They discovered they both loved strawberry milkshakes and hated math homework with equal passion. For Maya, it was the first time in over a year that she felt like a normal teenager instead of a tragedy. For Daniel, it was the first time since Laura's death that the cafe felt warm instead of lonely. And for Emma, it was simply magic, the kind that happens when friendship appears exactly when you need it most. When the plates were empty, Daniel offered her a ride back to the shelter. You'd drive me?" she asked, genuinely bewildered. "Of course." Emma grabbed Maya's hand, lifting the umbrella as high as her tiny arms could reach. They walked through the rain together, awkward but joyful, taking their time so Maya could move at her own pace. Every careful step a small act of courage. Disability writing guides note that describing how a character moves can feel more respectful than reducing them to a label. Daniel followed, watching them with a feeling he didn't expect: hope. The shelter was a worn brick building with peeling blue paint and warm light glowing through the windows. Mrs. Thompson, the silver-haired director, hurried toward them the moment they arrived. "Maya, we were worried." She stopped when she saw Daniel and Emma. "Oh," she breathed softly. "You brought her back. Thank you. Most people don't bother." "It was nothing," Daniel said. Mrs. Thompson shook her head. "Kindness," she said quietly, "is never nothing." Daniel would remember those words more than he knew. Before he could leave, she called after him. "Sir, may I speak with you?" Inside the shelter, the air smelled of warm soup and freshly folded laundry, simple comforts that reminded Daniel of home before everything fell apart. "Maya's been through so much," Mrs. Thompson said, her voice softening. "She rarely talks, rarely smiles, but today she did both, with you." She looked at him carefully, her weathered hands clasped together. What you gave her today wasn't just a meal, it was belonging, connection, the feeling that someone sees her as more than her challenges. Daniel swallowed hard, thinking of the girl's tentative smile, the way her shoulders had relaxed as the evening went on. "Would you consider visiting her? Even once a week? She needs consistency." Someone who shows up. He thought of Maya's shy laughter, Emma's wide smile, the ease that had flowed between them like they'd known each other for years instead of hours. "Yes," he said. "I'd like that." Mrs. Thompson's eyes glistened. "You're a good man, Daniel. Maya is lucky to have met you." But as Daniel drove home that night, Emma asleep in the back seat, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was the lucky one. He came back the next week, and the next, and the next. At first, Maya waited by the window for him, pretending she wasn't waiting, casually holding a book she never seemed to turn the pages of. Then she waited openly, her face lighting up the moment his car pulled into the parking lot. Then she moved as quickly as she could down the hallway toward him, her crutch clicking in a determined rhythm, nearly knocking him over with the force of her hug. Emma adored her. They colored together, told stories, watched old movies on the shelter TV. Sometimes they just sat quietly, all three of them, like a family that hadn't realized it was forming. Maya began to talk more, smile more, walk with more confidence, her shoulders back instead of hunched in self-protection. She even started attending the shelter's support group for teens, something she'd refused to do for months. And Daniel started healing too. He hadn't expected that. But grief softens around the edges when new love finds its way in. The apartment didn't feel so empty anymore. He looked forward to Wednesdays, their designated day, with an anticipation he hadn't felt since Laura was alive. He found himself laughing again, really laughing, at Maya's dry humor and Emma's silly jokes. One afternoon as they were leaving, Maya suddenly hugged him tightly, her thin arms wrapped around his waist. "Thank you," she whispered, "for seeing me." Daniel hugged her back, careful not to hurt her, but firm enough to let her know she mattered. "I'm proud of you," he said. "You sound like my mom," she murmured, her voice breaking, his eyes stung. "I think she'd be proud of you, too." 2 months later, everything shifted. Daniel walked into the shelter expecting an ordinary visit. But Mrs. Thompson approached him with urgent eyes and a tense jaw. "Daniel, we need to talk." He braced himself. "Maya's adoption paperwork was approved," she said, the words tumbling out quickly. "And she'll be moved across the country next week. A family in Oregon. They're good people, but..." The words hit him like a punch. Moved, away from Emma, away from him, after everything she'd overcome. Emma burst into tears when she heard, "She's my best friend. Daddy, don't let her go." And then Maya appeared in the hallway, standing perfectly still, her knuckles white around her crutch. She looked small, scared, but determined. "It's true," she whispered. "They found me a family, but I told them to wait." Daniel blinked. "Wait, why?" Maya tightened her grip on her crutch, her voice shaking but steady. "Because I wanted to ask you something first." She inhaled shakily, gathering every ounce of courage she possessed. "Sir, can I stay with you and Emma? Not for visits, not just for lunch. I mean, could you be my family? Could I be your daughter?" Time froze. The shelter went silent. Mrs. Thompson held her breath. Emma looked up at her father with desperate, pleading eyes. Daniel looked at Emma, eyes begging through tears. He looked at Maya, eyes full of hope and fear intertwined, bracing for rejection but daring to ask anyway. And everything inside him knew. This was the moment he didn't realize he'd been waiting for. The moment all the broken pieces of his life aligned into something whole. The moment his family, shattered by loss, became complete again in a way he never could have predicted. He knelt in front of her, taking her trembling hands in his. "Maya," he whispered, voice trembling, "I would be honored to be your dad." Maya collapsed into him, crying into his shoulder. Emma hugged them both, her little arms squeezing tight. Mrs. Thompson wiped her tears silently, watching three wounded souls find healing in each other. That, she whispered to no one in particular, is what kindness does. That is what love looks like. The adoption process took 3 months. Paperwork, home visits, background checks, and endless waiting. But Daniel never wavered. Maya moved into a foster arrangement with him while the legal process unfolded, and slowly, carefully, they built a life together. Maya moved in permanently on a Saturday in early spring. The apartment filled with life again. She got a new mobility aid that made walking more comfortable, its bright colors and subtle sparkle catching the light when she moved. Disability-style guides encourage neutral, empowering language that highlights tools as supports rather than symbols of limitation, which this description follows. She and Emma decorated their shared room with fairy lights and colorful drawings. They hung a handmade sign on the wall that said, "Home." Daniel taught Maya to ride a bike again, running alongside her in the park until she found her balance. Emma taught her how to braid hair, their heads bent together in concentration. They had movie nights every Friday, made pancakes every Sunday morning, and slowly created traditions that belonged only to them. Maya started therapy to process her grief. She joined the school's art club. She made friends, real friends who saw her for who she was, not what she'd been through. She laughed more, dreamed more, believed more in the possibility of happiness. Daniel watched them, heart full, realizing he wasn't just raising a daughter anymore, he was raising two. His grief over Laura would always be there, a quiet ache, but it no longer defined him. He'd found purpose again, love again, family again. On the first anniversary of the day they met, Maya gave Daniel a card she'd made herself. Inside, in careful handwriting, it read, "Thank you for not walking past. Thank you for staying. Thank you for choosing me. I love you, Dad." Daniel held her tight, tears streaming down his face, and whispered, "Thank you for letting me be your father. You saved me too." His grief softened, his hope returned, his home warmed. All because, on one rainy afternoon, a trembling girl asked if she could sit at his table, a small kindness, a quiet chair, a warm meal, and a moment that changed 3 lives forever. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to The Day Everything Changed. Your support helps us continue sharing powerful stories of kindness, hope, and second chances. And tell us in the comments, have you ever met a stranger who changed your life?